Hello everyone. I'm going to have to do some more videos from the UK. There's no two ways about it. The video that I posted on Sunday was styling at the barn, and everybody's really loved it, but there were a few questions about when's the next chateau video going to be. We are going again in a couple of weeks' time for the sort of second half of October, but we are doing some more chateau DIY filming. And that won't be out until Christmas 26. But what it does mean is when I'm in France, our time is very, very precious. And obviously we're renovating. We're obviously buying stock for the shop, and we try and have a little bit of downtime. Not much, admittedly, but when we're filming as well, it really, really cuts down the amount of time that I can do filming for us. We're going to go for a bit longer than we would normally go on the next trip. So I will try to see what I can do. I would try to film 2 videos, but it's potentially going to be our last trip to the chateau of the year. We will go to France again because Steve's first grandchild will be coming along. So we obviously need to go to France for that. We may potentially be doing a flit at Christmas as well, to do family Christmas, but that's in Normandy. It's certainly not south of France. So here is going to be one of, I was going to call it a filler video. That sounds a bit like it's a lesser video. It's something that's been requested, so I hope you'll find it interesting. But I'm here at home in the Cotswolds, and something that we get asked an awful lot is, what do you keep? What is it that you cannot part with? So I'm going to take you on a little bit of a tour of our house here in the Cotswolds, and show you some of the things that are just too precious to sell. Here we are in our sitting room. This is our mantelpiece that is a little bit busy. I would like to pare it back a little bit, but paring things back means I need to find another home or it goes to the shop. So at the moment, it's definitely staying like this. So this is a mantelpiece that Steve made for the shop a few years ago because I was desperate to have a fireplace to style for Christmas. And once Christmas was done, we removed it from the shop and we installed it here because it fitted really, really well. And it's made up of all sorts of different architectural salvage. The corbels are really beautiful. They are code stone, and the frieze through the middle is an 18th century panel. And then it's just bits and pieces cobbled together to make it work. We had no idea when Steve made this that we were going to keep it. Otherwise I might have changed a couple of bits, but on the whole I'm happy. You'll have seen at the chateau that we have a collection of servants' bells. Well, we have some servants' bells here. I've had these for many, many years, and you can see why I kept them, because Mrs. Smelly has a room. Too much entertainment factor, right? You'll have seen in my styling at the barn videos that I really, really love shells, and this is my collection of shells. I was really tempted to bring some coral home last week, and it may still come home. We'll see. So I've got a giant plaster foot inside a box that's papered out with, it looks like, I'm not sure if it's Versailles or not, the gardens of Versailles in the back of there, or whether it's just a very formal garden for somewhere else. Then a very, very moody landscape above that. The most foxed mirror ever, and there'll be a theme there on the foxed mirrors in this house. I really, really love to collect the ones that you cannot see yourself in at all. We have the first of our portraits here. This one is 17th century, a very, very buxom maid. And then there'll be a theme here as well with numbers And this is really quite a large jug. There's my hand in comparison, so you can see how large it is. It's very unusual to get them this size. And that's part of one of the first collections that I'll be showing you. Yeah, I like to do things in multiples, and the rest of these number series, I think I have a small jug and the rest are mugs, but you'll see that a little bit later. Right, moving on from the mantelpiece, this is our really big built-in unit, again using salvage. There's arch top cupboards below there. And as you can see, yes, we do actually have a television. I rarely watch it. It's Steve's best friend. So, over quite a few years, I've collected the giant mustard pots. I did also have quite a collection of the smaller mustard pots, but I decided that I liked the large ones better, and all the smaller ones went into the shop and they're long gone now. I really, really like these, the typography, the shapes. Right, then there's this collection of 18th century jugs. I absolutely love these. I love that they're all shades of blue and white. I think the patterns are absolutely gorgeous. There's huge chips. There's more than a nibble on the bottom. Some of them are just about managing to stand up. I bought the majority at one single stall at a market. So absolutely incredible to find a collection like that all in one go. And I immediately knew that they were never going to be for sale. There's resting a while, and then there's it's going to be with me forever. And they definitely fall into that category. The mustard pots, I'm not so sure. I've enjoyed them quite a few years. I still really enjoy them, but I don't know if they're an absolute forever piece. So here's the first of two pieces with Steve's initials on. So this old trunk that we use as a lamp table. Obviously, if anything has your initials on, you need to keep it. One of the Roman blinds in the Great Hall at the chateau has my initials on the grain sack that I used for the Roman blinds. So a Bloomsbury revisited lamp and lampshade. Some little engineer's drawers, and of course, no home's complete without a Felix Pottinger. And no home of ours is complete without a René Gallant. This is the Three Graces. I absolutely love this so much. He was such a prolific painter that even this bit of old wallpaper was not safe from him. And it makes me laugh so much. I mean, firstly, the painting is incredible. But secondly, I mean, Lady Garden. I don't know if those not from the UK will get that reference or not, but a literal lady garden in a lady garden. It's just too much for me. It also has to be here in the Cotswolds for me to enjoy each day. It's a real treat to go back to France and enjoy our treasures in France, but to see this every day and make me snigger and for me to enjoy it is too good, especially paired with an antique frame. Right, this is the last little bit for this room. There's quite a lot going on in this corner, if I'm honest. So I have this really old, worn denim slip cover on this wingback chair. This was in my sister's house for so many years. I always coveted it. Both of my children love it. Dave loves it. And as soon as I knew she was moving and it was on the get rid of it pile, it was like, that is definitely mine. The other thing that Dave loves to do, there's one of his toys poking out from under there. is to hide all of his toys under there, and also to absolutely commando crawl his way under there to hide in an evening. So a good old giant portrait cushion, and then a grain sack. Just, you know, even an armchair is not safe from decoration. Have an old chopping block there. Oh look, there's the cushion from the window seat that Dave has just been barking at people and looking on and moved. And now, Dave. Okay. This pineapple is huge ceramic. That's really not helpful, Dave dog. David. Shh. This large ceramic pineapple lamp is also French. Absolutely love it. I love me a good, especially pure white ceramic lamp. I'm really sorry. I just had to interrupt that to take Dave's squeaky toy off him because he was relentless. Poor Dave. He can have it back in a minute. Right, you've all seen herbiers before, but have you seen pressed seaweed? These are actually a collection from the UK, and they have a great deal of age to them. I can't remember exactly, and Steve's out at the moment, but he framed these in this old window a couple of years ago for me for Christmas. And I have to say, I was so pleased that we didn't sell them. They are quite a rare beast, and they are utter... Oh, he's managed to get another squeaky toy. Great. I'm going to whiz round the last bit in this room and just pretend that he's not there. Right, this is another gift from Steve. He's such a great gift giver. This is called the White House. And we saw it on an anniversary trip a few years ago, and we didn't buy it at the time. It was a great deal of money, and it ended up, I'm sure, being a Christmas present. So nearly a year on from our anniversary, and he tracked down the artist whose exhibition it was and ended up going to his workshop and managing to secrete it, come home with it in the van, get it lifted into the house on Christmas Eve with the boys as a big surprise. And it is made from absolute junk. But can you imagine how many hours and hours and hours it takes to put something like this together? And it's made out of doilies, lolly sticks, cocktail sticks, anything and everything that you can imagine. The tops of wine bottles, corks. But look, there's even birds on the end there. I need to buy a new can of the air that you can spray to do keyboards. It does accumulate quite quickly, so don't look too close. And yes, I'm aware it does need a good spray. There's me and my sister perched on there, enjoying life as fairies. It is a thing of wonder. I need to try and get back a bit without standing on a small dog and a whole load of toys. I think that this Swedish Morra clock is one of my most prized possessions. This clock is the reason that Steve and I are together. This purchase was made at an antique fair where we met, and we needed to exchange details because I had spent all my money on stock and I really wanted to buy this clock. So we had to exchange details to do the bank transfer and so on. And the rest is history, really. So yes, one of my prized possessions. One last thing in this room that people really love is this coffee table. I very nearly forgot to mention it. So it's a big bass drum with a glass top on it. I did loan it to our holiday cottage when we had that for a while. And as soon as we knew we were selling it, I knew it had got to come home. So very nearly forgot it, but it's a pride and joy. Welcome to our kitchen. It's not a terribly exciting room. It's quite functional. It's one of the last rooms that I renovated in this cottage when I was really running out of money. But here is the second largest mirror in the house, and it's in our usual old faded gilt style. And the mantelpiece Steve put in with these really chunky carved wood corbels. We've got a rarer green comfy pot, and we've got a bottle with Steve's initials on, so obviously that had to be kept. There's a large wooden carved crest there. We've had it quite a few years. We've never used it on anything yet, but there it stays. Here's my sister commissioned an artist to do portraits of both my dogs when I had two and not just Naughty Dave. So this is Ned. And there's Naughty Dave that you've seen an awful lot of. And he's watching me now with suspicion. Why are you talking to yourself, Mummy? Now, this isn't something that many people have in their kitchen. This is Dennis. Dennis Taupe. Taupe is French for mole. I have never, ever, ever seen another taxidermy mole. So, there he resides. When I said before, numbers were going to be a theme here. This is the latest one in my collection, actually. It's very, very fragile, as you can see. And the handle, and in particular this little triangle here, so it's quite delicate. It's loitering there on the mantle at the moment because my shelves are so full. Steve said, I think that we need to lose some of the apothecary, so I think the pink apothecary jars will be going on the top to spread out my number collection a little bit more. Number one there is actually a jug, the rest are mugs. They're commonly referred to as archer's mugs, but we think they were for big events and for everybody to hang on to their mug for their drinks for the evening. It makes an awful lot more sense, and that's the research that we've done, so we'll stick with that. And then a few more unusual apothecary jars, some really nice ceramic ones instead of the usual glass. We have a few bits and pieces on our, oh, I just nearly trod on a small dog, on our mantelpiece. Really stained Soupier base, obviously. A white ceramic pumpkin, now that's modern. A Snoopy storage jar because I love Snoopy. Actually this one is a little white terrier on the top for obvious reasons, and that black plaster bust there is another one of my dad's pieces. Welcome to the gang on the shelf in the kitchen. So this is our collection of antique cuddlies. Yeah, I just don't really have anything more to say about that. A couple of them have appeared on stories before with us on our adventures in France. There's Pierre with his hand aloft there waving at us, the really grumpy looking teddy bear in the middle, and the teddy bear on the left is Claude, and that's Dave barking at some neighbours, so that's great. And also we thought that the dog on the right looked like Ned, and now Ned's no longer with us, so he had to be a keeper. And then an absolute assortment of bags, coats, all the usual family type stuff, except it's all mine. No one else's is allowed there. And here there's a bust on our windowsill. I think that's about it from this kitchen really. There's other bits and pieces to see, but in all honesty, I really can't be bothered to tidy up enough to show you. That sounds really awful, but that's real life. Welcome to our spare room. You will discover that this is the most colourful room in the entire house. We still haven't got around to making a headboard for here. One of my sons moved out of this room earlier this year, and I immediately started decorating and indulging myself. So let's start. First things first, this bedside table is of course from the shop. It was already painted like this. There's Dave. Thank you, Dave. And I just really liked it. I like the colour of the marble on the top. Just really nice, very quintessentially shabby chic style. And then there's an old drawer in the bottom where somebody's little nose is just about to go. Thank you. So I just filled in the gap down there with that. This is an old French lamp base with a really textured, thick linen shade on it that my friend used to make. I've had that years and years. When we had a holiday cottage, I had no end of these sorts of lamps, and this is the last one now. All the rest sold at the shop. So this, I think, is the first of the gilt mirrors that you're seeing, and it is very foxed. You see there? Really beautiful. So great condition. This is the sort of period of mirror. Hello. You can see a reflection, albeit a bit hazy, which is perfect actually. It's like being in soft focus permanently. And then there's another little 18th century mirror down there on the floor. Again, you can really see the foxed glass in that. I can't part with it. And yes, it's not on a wall, which is one of my rules, but I'm going to find somewhere for it. So the most gorgeous deconstructed button back chair with just a little sheepskin on there for when a certain somebody takes up residence. Really beautiful thick trim around the bottom. I personally love it just the way it is. I know it isn't everybody's cup of tea, but I do love me a deconstructed piece of furniture. The Roman blind in here is made from antique sheeting, and you can see it's got the original, this is the original seam from the sheet. So we've just incorporated that into the blind. Down a little bit. Sorry about the screws on the top there. This is one of my dad's sculptures. This is mother and child. Unfortunately, my sister kept the bust that I really wanted. I do have another one of the busts that he did. But yes, that lives in here, and that is made of lead. So it is extraordinarily heavy. Right, moving on. You will also see that this room is a lot more girly than a lot of the rest of the house. I kind of indulged myself when my son moved out. So I've got one of these shelves that we quite often stock at the shop, and I've put some treasures on there. Bag, excuse the Dave dog noises, but it's just going to continue, so we're going to try and ignore him. The basket bag is from my sister's recent trip to Morocco. She bought it back for my birthday. Then we have these Italian box files. Marbling and beautiful script on the labels. And then a really nice little, I don't actually know what it would have been used for. Maybe it would have had sweets or something like that in there. I just thought it was really cute. So, the first of a couple of vintage tutus. This one in a really lovely pale pink with gorgeous detailing on it. Can you ever imagine if I'd have had girls and not boys? I would be broke. So I just love to have things like this for the girly touch that I never had. I've got a couple of favourite bits of clothing, a really nice floppy linen sou'wester and a linen waistcoat, obviously both from an acre of land. Then I've got a bag made from old sacking that I used to use as my everyday bag. There's another bag here made from an old postal sack with leather straps. And then this is a beautiful bag made by my friend, and Steve got me this for my 50th birthday. Really just so beautifully made. Again, a leather strap. I do like to collect the unusual and have what not everybody else has got. So, and I've got a really rustic pared back standard lamp with a linen shade again. Furniture wise, a really nice floral chest of drawers. Beautiful patination on it. It was in the shop for absolutely ages. And then one day I really wanted a desk in this room, so that I could have my sewing machine and my printer and everything. So it all had a place, but I've not found the right desk. So this is in here for now. And I absolutely love it. Right, let's start down here. I absolutely love this little chair. This little chair was going to be at the desk that I didn't manage to source. I love the way that the skirting's done on the Vichy check. It's just so unusual and lovely. Then we have some salvage piled up. The panelling I've hoarded to hopefully be part of a giant headboard that you saw that we haven't done yet. It needs extending at both sides, so I need to find the perfect things to extend it, or I may change my mind entirely. And then there's this huge door behind. You can't quite see. Really beautifully studded, and there's an alcove that you can just see behind there. So if possible, I'd like to get that mounted onto the wall and use it as the door to the alcove and have a concealed cupboard there. Right, the first of the paintings in this room, really out there for us, really colourful. I absolutely fell in love with this painting, and so did my son. And he said, "Mum, I know what you're like. You'll enjoy things for a while, then it will go to the shop." He said, "Please don't send this one to the shop." He said, "Because when I get my own place, I want it." Well, since then we framed it, and it had nowhere to be until his twin brother moved out of home, and I had a whole new room to decorate, and here it is. And it looks so much better framed. I don't think everything looks better framed. I quite like a naked canvas, but this is just great. I love the fish. I love the colours, the floral, the bottle. Yeah, I love it. Right, you will have seen this portrait, Loitering. It's actually one of a pair. There, husband and wife. We're not quite sure. We've only recently acquired these, and we're not quite sure what we're going to do with them yet. To be determined. This is the last painting in this room. Again, quite colourful for us. I don't know why, I just fancied a splash of colour in this room. This was bought from one of our really good friends, and it did go into the shop. A couple really liked it, and they said, oh, could you find a frame for it? And we said, yeah, sure. And Steve found a frame, put it in the frame, and I went, oh my goodness, I need that. That will work really well with the colour I've just painted the spare room. So sorry if you're that customer, but I snagged it and here it stays. Right, I think that's everything for this room. Let's move on to somewhere else in the house. There's not a huge amount to see in our bathroom, partly because our bathroom's not very large. So I colour drenched this room, so all over in this sort of sludgy pink. Obviously some panelling, we can't live without it. So there's this enormous mirror and it just about fits on top of the panelling and a couple of inches to spare to the ceiling. Obviously really foxed because there's no other way. And this is one of the vintage photos that we had in our holiday cottage. I love this man in the Pierrot costume. It just makes me laugh. We had a whole gallery of really fun photographs in our holiday cottage, and then we had the little fixing on the top so that we could change them out because several people stayed several times, and so it was quite fun to see if they spotted that we changed some of the vintage photos in there. And we have this really old clock and it does work. It was converted, so this is actually the time. There, I've swizzled around to the other side of the room. Probably one of the most foxed slash knackered, and it is knackered. There's hardly any of the gesso left on this frame, but I absolutely love it. I'm sure there's going to be lots of people that love it and lots of people that really don't understand it and say, why do you have that up in your bathroom? But you know, not everybody's interior tastes are the same. I'm very, very sure that if we took one in such shocking condition into the shop, that some people would be very surprised, but we love it. Here, Steve made us a built-in cupboard with this 18th century door with some really old quilting in the door space, and there's entwined Sacred Hearts there. So it's all shelved inside, and we just used, sorry, I'm trying to find my way around that little dog. Excuse the bits of floor that are still not finished. Like I said before, we have lots of unfinished jobs in this house. There's never the time. So there you go. That's all the excitement in the bathroom. Here is our chaotic bedroom. I did have half a thought that I would put everyday life things away, and then I thought this is everyday life. So yes, there's a small needy dog, a glass of water, books. So it's kind of warts and all really. Dave, your ear looks broken. Let's just sort that out. That's better. So we have a really large fan light. So this would have been above really quite a big double door and had glass in it. We did think potentially about mirroring it, but I just like it really stripped back like this. Again, more panelling, again as a headboard, and oil painting, a floral oil painting that Steve got me, gosh, I don't know, years and years ago. It's one of my favourites. It used to be downstairs over the fireplace. It found its way up here. Then quite a girly corner with lots of pink, I'll show you in a minute. These are more of our use of architectural salvage. So built-in shutters, made into a cupboard, lots of shelves behind, and it's the same remnants of chippy white paint as the cupboard that was built in the bathroom. So here I've got hello little pink drawers, and they're just chipboard. Excuse our squeaky floorboards. They are just chipboard, but I've had them so many years. I absolutely love them. The amount of people that have tried to buy them off me, and no, they are definitely mine. Here, different fragments added together. I think the base is new, and then the long wooden bit that the boat is put onto is, I think, Spanish 18th century, and then the metal boat on top. I don't mind at all that it's cobbled together. It's a little bit like our fireplace in that it's made up of different pieces of really beautiful things. These little pink drawers that hide kind of all sorts of extra bits and pieces of makeup and that kind of thing. I bought off a friend of mine, gosh, quite a few years ago as well. Right, you can see the view from our bedroom window. Cotswold Cottages. Welcome to one of our gallery walls. Actually, having said that, one of the gallery walls downstairs is now not there anymore. This is a way for me to hang on to more items by grouping them together. Hello again. Yeah, there we go. I'm in soft focus yet again. So, a collection of precious mirrors. So this one was from one of our friends. Gorgeous foxing. Another one of my dad's sculptures in front of it. Really pretty bowl. A picture of my sister and I from years and years ago. Actually, it's really faded at one of our friends' weddings. And then a little wooden school. I really like that, actually. It has almost gone to the shop a few times, but it's always has a reprieve. Look at the foxing in this one. There's soft focus and then there's hello, are you quite there? Which suits me just fine. Look how shattered it is. Really love that. And then this one's kind of like a motley effect. And let me try and get out of the picture there. A chocolate Menier mirror, really rare thing. And it will stand up. That bends around and so it's a stand, but it makes me nervous to stand it up because it could so easily slip. So there you go. If you like your mirrors and you have the same rule as me where if it doesn't find wall space it has to go, do a collection of them. This is one of my favourite pieces of furniture. We've had this a very, very long old time. Beautiful 18th century commode. Gorgeous escutcheons, handles, patination on it. So there you go. I think that's all I'm going to show you in our bedroom. Actually, there's just one more precious treasure. I don't know if I can unearth it. It's a pink dressing table that Steve gave me on our first date. Right, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this because the light in our house, it's a really gloomy day. See this enormous gilt mirror with foxing, you can see the line in there. If I actually stood on our landing, I couldn't get back far enough from it to show you properly. It's that bit, well, firstly, the mirror's so big, and secondly, our landing's so small. So the two coupled together mean that that's as good a shot as I can get you, particularly in having to film landscape. So yes, this is one of this is the largest mirror in the house. Actually, there's one above the kitchen mantelpiece. So there we go. You can just about see on the landing Rene Gallant nude, but it's quite explicit, if I'm honest. So I'll just let your imagination run from there. I hope you've enjoyed that tour of our treasures in our house in the Cotswolds. It was requested, so I hope it lived up to expectations. Some things are keepers forever, and some things it's in a constant ebb and flow situation. So you never know what you're going to find next and what may give way to make room for something else. One of my customers came in this afternoon and said, I explained to her what I was filming. She was really excited. And she said, oh, somebody said to me, maybe, you know, somebody would really like a tour of her house in the Cotswolds and all the treasure that she has. And I know she has some really interesting things. So would it be an idea in the winter months when I can't do so much chateau filming to see if I could find a few people to do a little tour? I don't know how many people would let me in, but I think it's a really interesting idea. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.